and I did not want it to. But look, Derek Carr, he's the Raiders quarterback. He's the stat leader in almost every Raider category as our quarterback. Derek Carr is a legendary Raider quarterback. He was top 10 last year in stats, and he's the best quarterback we've had in a long time. He's going nowhere right now. This is his last season. Many people were, well, many, myself included, we're wondering, with the quarterback market that's going on, how all the quarterbacks are getting paid 40, 35, 40, 50 million dollars. Derek Carr is due an extension. So if they can sign, they could have signed Derek Carr last season under Gruden for an extension. Derek Carr said before the season started, you know, those talks will happen, but I just want to play out the season and see where I'm at. That's what he said under Gruden last year. Now, with a new regime change, knowing they can get Derek Carr possibly at a hometown discount, where he might do it like Tom Brady did with Josh McDaniels, Derek Carr might do it with the Raiders, especially in this quarterback market. Derek Carr is a top 14, 15 quarterback in the NFL. Technically, he's top 12 in my mind. And teams need quarterbacks. We signed Devontae Adams to reunite him with Derek Carr. So that means Derek Carr is in the Raiders' plans, right? Well, at least for this year it is. But that brings me to the question. Why the hell has Derek Carr not signed a contract extension now? I don't hear any rumors about it. I don't hear many people talking about it. I don't hear anything out of Derek Carr's camp. I barely hear anything out of Josh McDaniels' camp. Josh McDaniels the other day, in a free agency press conference, he was asked about Derek Carr. He said they're building the team around Derek Carr moving forward. And Derek Carr's in their long-term plans. But during the scouting combine, Josh McDaniels was asked the same question. And he said, we'll deal with that, we'll deal with that bridge when we cross it. So we got a little bit of contradicting statements. I might not be getting the exact terms right that Josh McDaniels said in the scouting combine or the press conference, but I'm not far off. I wish I could show the videos, but I don't want to lose my channel again. And there's just certain videos I know might possibly get flagged, and I'm trying not to lose my channel again. I should have found the quote and wrote it on screen. Forgive me. But in the scouting combine, just to reiterate, he was asked about the Derek Carr extension. And he said, we'll cross that bridge when we need to. Maybe he was talking about free agency or right before the season or when Derek Carr comes to them. Then, it's been a month or so now. Now it's free agency. He was asked the same question. And he said, yes, I'm building around Derek Carr for the future. I don't remember if they asked him about the exact extension, but he said, you know, he's building around Derek Carr. He's a great quarterback, and he is the future. So, with that being said, let's watch this video from about a month ago from Paul Gutierrez talking about the Derek Carr extension, and let's get into it. There may be a problem arising.
Extension talks, numbers as much as 40 million per season. Again, he's getting ready to make just under 20. That will be a pretty big commitment for Derek Carr, who virtually holds every passing record in franchise history anyway. So to go ahead and make that commitment, that would tell you that's exactly what they do and what they want. And from the Carr camp, they've been pretty silent, except for, let's say, a family member has been making the rounds and saying that they want a commitment from the organization to go forward here. So it's been interesting to see that. If nothing else, we know this, that Derek's biggest proponent in that Raider building really the past couple of years with John Gruden. He's gone. So there's so much that's still to be figured out, so much to understand how these two fit with each other. So again, a long answer to your short question. I think the extension is more likely in the cards, about 35 million a year, unless, again, of course, somebody wows them with a huge trade proposal. And if you get a couple first rounders in there, well, then that could be appealing for Josh McDaniels as well.
Yeah, we're not even going to talk about the trades. And this was made before the Raiders signed Davante Adams. This was the only video that I could find that I'm able to use. But they said they want a commitment from the Raiders. Well, going out and getting Davante Adams proved that they want Derek Carr. But still, it's been a couple of weeks after the Davante Adams signing. We haven't heard about Derek Carr in extension talks. Plus, the Raiders don't have a lot of cap. So why is nobody technically talking about that at all? Are they waiting till after the draft? Are they negotiating behind the scenes that we don't know about? What's going on? Even if they're negotiating, we don't have the cap space. Are we going to take money away? I know they can figure out a way to do it, but it's just interesting that after Max Crosby signs an extension, Derek Carr didn't do it right after. Then we heard that Derek Carr needs a commitment. Well, they go out and get Davante Adams. That's a commitment. And still we haven't heard anything from Derek Carr. Now quarterbacks are getting like Deshaun Watson, $50 million a year almost. Do you think Derek Carr is holding out? No. But I do believe Derek Carr this year will play out this year without an extension. I think Derek Carr, knowing he'll be a free agent, that he could possibly covet north of $40 million if he becomes a free agent for maybe a Raiders team or any other team. I think Derek Carr is betting on himself this year. Or is Josh McDaniels knowingly not going to Derek Carr with an extension? He wants to see what Derek Carr has under his system with Davante Adams for this year. Could that be Josh McDaniels' play? Not to really offer Derek Carr an extension? To check him out? Kind of like what he did with Jay Cutler before he traded Jay Cutler? But could that be what Josh McDaniels is doing? Because he said, we'll cross that bridge when we have to. That means he's under contract. We don't have to cross that bridge. He's under contract. We don't have to cross that bridge till next year. Then he just said he's building for the future around Derek Carr. That's what I think exactly is what's going on. I'll be honest with you. I think all three of those things are kind of happening. Derek Carr is not forcing a contract extension right now, which he could. He could do that. Saying, come on, man, a commitment right now again. Or Derek Carr could be holding out. He won't do that, but he could for leverage. Or, again, Derek Carr knowing what Josh McDaniels might be doing, testing him for this final year under his new system. Derek Carr is like, I'm going to bet on myself. I have to prove it this year again for my 8th time in the league. I have to prove it again this year. And if I get us to the playoffs again, I play a little bit better with touchdowns in the red zone, I'm going to be a free agent with a value of close to $40 million, the Aaron Rodgers territory. That will be Derek Carr's value if he goes through the season, takes us to the playoffs, and becomes a free agent. That will be his value. Whether you guys agree he's worth it or not, it doesn't matter. That will be his value. His value right now is possibly close to $40 million. Anywhere between $32 to $38 million, in my opinion, is Derek Carr's value. 30 to 30, let's say 30 to 30, I'll say 35 million. 30 to 35, if he does an extension, is his value. But if he plays out the season, does better, gets us to the playoffs, his value's north of 40. Especially in a town with no taxes. Although, so maybe that's what Derek Carr is doing. And the truth is, I think all three things are happening that I just mentioned. I think no major contract talks have hit Derek Carr's agent. But I think Josh McDaniels has not given Derek Carr an extension offer or called Derek Carr's camp about an extension. That's what I think happened. But in order to not make Derek Carr mad moving forward, he heard that he needs a commitment. So they went out and signed Davante Adams and traded for Davante Adams to make Derek Carr happy as well. So Derek Carr could have been mad that there's been no contract extension talks, but now he's less mad because they brought in Davante Adams. So now it looks like they're building, as Josh McDaniels said, a team around Derek Carr, but with no contract offer. They're building around Derek Carr, but they haven't given him a contract offer because I believe Josh McDaniels is also worried that Derek Carr really doesn't have every single thing that he wants. So he's going to test him this year in training camp for another year. Then maybe in the middle of the season or right before the beginning of the season, if Derek Carr is doing and saying and they're playing real good in practice or whatever, maybe extension talks will come from Josh McDaniels. So I think three things are true. I think no offers went to Derek Carr from the McDaniels camp, but they're trying to prove and give Derek Carr weapons, and they're trying to build around him, and they're testing him this season. And I think Derek Carr knows it as well. Hence why they've gotten no extension talks offers. So Derek Carr's not going to go out of his way and try to force an extension. He might as well just sit back, play his final year, see what happens, and maybe make $40 million next year. And he does want to be a Raider, and he may get a contract extension right before the beginning of the season. I don't know. But for it to not have any talk or any rumblings right now, pretty much after free agency, it's pretty damn interesting. And he's picking up young quarterbacks. I'm not saying they're going to take over for Derek Carr, but it's pretty damn interesting. So, this could be a problem, depending on how Josh McDaniels handles it moving forward. and how Derek Carr wants to make a commitment to the Raiders and force extension talks. Or is he going to bet on himself? It could be a problem depending on how each of them handles the situation moving forward. I'm going to be honest with you. If I'm Derek Carr, after a lot of the bullshit that he's been through, I bet on himself with Davante Adams. I bet on himself this next season. But if he wants to be a Raider for life like he said, because it might be a bad season, anything bad could happen. If he wants to be a Raider for life, he needs to have his people call McDaniels and hold out or force a contract extension right now. Maybe for $30, $35 million a year. Get some more guaranteed money, because you're going to save money too in Vegas. But if he plays it out, he could get more than $40 million, a big $150 million contract guaranteed. And he possibly could not be a Raider if he goes to another team, depending on how it all plays out. So I'm going to be honest with y'all. There might be a problem in the future. I don't see one right now, but I'm starting to worry. And if Mikey Raider feels something in his gut that needs to come to a head, normally, I'm right. I'm a good judge of people and situations. And this one is a little dicey. It's a little dicey. That being said, I want to know your guys' thoughts. It's pretty damn interesting, guys. I really hope Derek Carr or somebody watches this and starts trying to get an extension right now. Because even if they did try to get an extension, maybe Josh McDaniels and his staff have not come back with an offer. I don't know what's going on. Something's going on.